Hi, I'm Patrick Bunk. I'm founder and CEO of UberMetrics Technologies. We've built UberMetrics because we believe everyone should be armed with the best information available to support and guide their business decisions. The problem is, companies often rely on outdated information and serendipity instead. That is why we at UberMetrics process millions of documents every day to identify the key nuggets to help you make better decisions faster. What could these key nuggets be? They can range from just a simple tweet announcing a key strategic acquisition of one of your competitors to a live TV conference that announced, just by the way, that there's an important leadership change in one of your strategic partners, or it could just be a patent application released today indicating that a very powerful company might enter your market. So why isn't any company already doing all these kind of screenings? The problem is pretty simple: information overload. Every company is tasked with this humongous job to filter hundreds of thousands of tweets, blog posts, news entries, patent application, TV, radio, podcast streams to identify these important information about their own customers, about their own potential customers, about their products, about their suppliers, and about their competitors. And so we have been spending the past 4 years to build a big data solution for that problem. Okay, this one is not working. Can you just, okay, thank you very much. So we've been building a stream processing engine that is able to combine all these different data sources I just mentioned into a single system and continuously apply natural language processing, text mining, and statistical analysis to identify the key documents and key facts that you need to know to make the critical business decisions correctly. Right now, we collect data from around 400 million online sources in 60 different languages, as well as thousands of print publications all over the world. And also, we have coverage of over 40 different countries for TV and radio with over 400 different channels. But we don't stop there. We believe everything that's publicly available should be available to you to support and guide your decisions. And that includes for us also trade register data as well as patent applications. To give you a rough idea, right now we process around 40,000 relevant documents per minute on average. That's around 1.7 billion documents a month for our clients. And just to give you an idea how we're different from conventional social media monitoring solutions. They all started out with a very narrow focus of public relations and marketing. That means they're focusing on individual channels like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and a few others. And their primary filter of information is actually like count, number of followers, and so on. And these things don't work well in a business setting. And that's why we have developed relational algorithms to combine all these different documents and identify the key documents that you need to know. So we enable our clients to get every drop of information exactly to the point where they need it to be. Thank you. So just to give you an example, this is a beautiful car. And this car is made, of course, by BMW. And this car is actually not just made by BMW alone, but rather it's a result of a complex supply chain of around 1,000 suppliers. And these 1,000 suppliers themselves have additional suppliers of, we count roughly probably 30,000 tier 2 suppliers. And these suppliers themselves have further on suppliers, so we're down to roughly 300,000 companies BMW has to keep track of. And if any of these companies fails, essentially BMW stops producing these cars. So they have to decide which of these suppliers merits their attention. Where do they have to find an alternative supplier? Where do they have to help these companies out to make sure that everything runs smoothly? Before UberMetrics, they essentially had no way of doing that. With our technology, they're able to screen all of these continuously. And with our standard dashboard, we're able to very quickly configure it and keep track of all these different risks. These can stem from very simple things like weather issues, broken down infrastructure, like autobahns not working. For a car manufacturer with a just-in-time production, this actually matters. But it can also be very tiny things like compliance issues with a small company in Indonesia, resulting for them in humongous cost to get an alternative supplier on board immediately if they don't find an alternative. And these, with our technology, they're able to identify them quickly. And this is just one example. There are others. We have right now, can you just, thank you. We have right now around 180 customers in 10 different countries. Just to name a few other examples that we might talk about, Osram, for example. Osram uses our technology to benchmark their own product launches and to make sure that every individual product that they launch actually has a positive net effect on their own brand, and to make sure that this product launches at least as successfully as other products. Zalando entrusted us with covering their IPO. So 2 years preceding their IPO, we started monitoring for them issues affecting their brand as well as potentially affecting their IPO in 15 different countries. And they're still using our technology to immediately get on top of any kind of business issues that arise in all these countries. Kaspersky uses our technology to identify emerging security issues that they have to get on top on to make sure that they get their own credible background knowledge into that discussion. Vodafone uses our technology to gather customer feedback, true customer feedback, unfiltered customer feedback from thousands of different sources all over the internet as well as social media channels, allowing them to respond to all of these as well as gathering feedback for their own product metrics. Red Bull uses our technologies to identify emerging videos that are just going to go viral to share them in their own communities, therefore engaging their own customers or potential customers further to make sure that they think of them when they're buying a drink. DHL has a very interesting problem, or had a very interesting problem for us, in the sense that they have amazing data about all their deliveries. But their problem is it's very hard for them to make sure that they measure the stuff that's also important for product perception. For example, I have the problems that often a delivery driver doesn't even ring the bell. He just says, there was nobody there, because that's just faster for them. We allow them to gather that data in aggregate over different countries to make sure that they keep everything up to standard. So these are just a few examples of some of our customers exemplifying what kind of problems you can solve once you have the power of all that publicly available data, easily filterable. And if any of you here in the room has another interesting problem, we might love to help you with, so let's talk. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Could you explain how much effort is required to set up a solution for a particular customer?
Right. We usually start out with a webinar. So that's if you have a standard use case that we have seen before, it's less than an hour for the analyst, and he can do from then on. He can do everything himself. Of course, we support them when we see that they have very complicated issues on correctly configuring these different data sources. Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.